Hi everybody. Thank you for joining. My name is Glayonse Pinky. Welcome to Glayonse Talk Show. I have a special guest today, Mrs. Adeo. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
We are happy to have you here today.
Thank you
We
very much.
have few points that we're going to talk about education, but I would love to hear about yourself. Who are you? Introduce yourself to the audience.
All right. Thank you. Again, thank you for having me. My name is Adeyola Ajayi. I'm originally from Nigeria, West Africa, and I'm an educator. When I say I'm an educator, I'm a teacher. Um, I've trained here in the United States. That would be my second profession because I had a profession before coming
Oh, okay.
to America. I was a
Okay.
business administrator.
Oh, okay.
And but when I came to America over some decades, I decided to change my profession. I went to school to be a teacher, and after that, I also have in K to 12 education teacher, and I also have my master's degree in education pedagogy, which means the art of teaching.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Currently, I am an active teacher in the state.
Welcome. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. And I think you're an entrepreneur, but that's another topic for another day.
Absolutely. When you see a woman, we have so many areas.
We do a
go-
lot of,
Yep.
our hand is always very busy and full.
Absolutely.
So today I would love you to talk about education. So some of the people, our education when we went to school back in Africa, middle school, high school, college, it's pretty much different. Do you want to give more details about education back there and education our children get here? How do you think it does have impact with the parents and children?
Absolutely. As an immigrant parent myself, I have three children who were born here. And also having my education back in Nigeria, I can compare. I've experienced, I've lived this. Back at home, we were westernized by the Western culture. We have our culture and then we go to school. And then because this Western culture has impacted greatly in us, education is taught like enforced. They tell you when a teacher is talking, you're completely quiet and you listen and you just have to follow. Your teacher back home is seen as a mini god. When I say a mini god, is the authoritarian person in the classroom.
So that means what they say is what you go by with.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But when you're talking about education in America, with my experience, I've been practicing for over 13 years now. It is interactive.
Okay.
It's not authoritarian.
Okay.
You could be teaching and a student can ask you a question. You need to stop and hear that student's voice. They are part of that learning. Even as a teacher, you're also learning.
Okay.
You've not arrived. We call it teaching and learning.
Okay.
We hereby, the students are bringing their own knowledge into the classroom. You're impacting in it and you're also gaining from them. Very interactive. Those are the two differences.
I think I like that. How about, educationally by culture? What do you think the parents should know to make sure that their children, even if they're getting this American education, they're not going to miss the cultural education that, we all need to know as an immigrant parent and having immigrant children in America?
Absolutely. The other thing I didn't tell you is both my parents were educators. My father was a principal and retired as a superintendent.
Okay.
My mother was a principal for elementary school. So I grew up in that household and I did not like to be a teacher back home. But here, I realized that I have it in me.
Okay.
After having children here and my husband works a lot, he's usually gone. And I said, what am I going to do to involve and learn along with my kids?
Okay.
And then I thought, and then I went around and ended up with education. And to answer your question, as an immigrant parent, you must be involved in your children's education. starting from elementary school. Don't miss it. No matter what you do, you need to grow and learn along with them so that you're not totally oblivious of what they're
Okay.
doing.
So, how do you get involved?
Good question. Can you go to the elementary school when you enroll them as a kindergartner? Ask your teacher, what can I do? How can I volunteer? When they have a parent teacher meeting, make sure you go to all of it.
Okay.
When they have, especially in elementary school, they do a lot of field trips. Volunteer to go with them. All of my kids, I was in their classroom tutoring as a part of my giving back into it. Don't think that you're not, that you're just wasting your time. You are giving back and also learning. I will go into their classroom and help them do their reading. They read to me, and all of the other students will come in and read to me too, not just my kid. Or I will go and make paper copies for their teachers. And as along the line, I will see the way they're structured in the classroom. All of the classroom are decorated to always engage the kids. You'll see colorful things on the whiteboard and everywhere. And the students are able to take part in their own learning.
How about, it's so hard for parents who are always like busy having 2, 3 jobs. I feel like it was more easier for you as a teacher. You can actually, be able to be involved more. What are you going to advise those parents who are always working too much and they don't have time to volunteer?
I'm going to say to you, every stage in life is so different. When you have younger kids, you need to make time. You're trying to I know as an immigrant person, we don't have a lot of support. We might be the first immigrant that has to do all the work. What can you do? Can you spare one day a week? Or maybe your husband will go or the wife will go. There was a time my mom visited as a grandma. I enrolled my mom to also volunteer.
Oh,
She was in my son's kindergarten and first grade class, and they will call her, my son's name is Tyre. They'll say, Tyre's grandma is here. They asked to call her a name. They knew that this is grandma also involved. And she learned a lot too. Being a teacher, she was comparing it to what she did back home.
Yes.
And what is being taught right here. So when our kids come home with homework, we know how to also support them based on what they've taught them in school. Because let me not lie to you, our children are in 2 cultures. They're in their parents' culture, but the predominant culture is the American culture which they are in. And that will impact on them greatly. So as parents, if we don't want the conflict to start or to linger on, we need to be involved from the beginning. We need to find time. It could be once a week.
Right.
When they bring in homework, tell your child to teach you how they taught them in class.
Okay.
Pay attention to it. Even if we're not able to go more than once a week, we need to be able to ask them and get involved. And you have to find time. The way you find time to pay your bills, the way you find time to go to work, you need to find time to be in your children's education. They are you should prioritize them. And because this is not forever, once they get to high school, they don't want you near. Even true. By middle school, they don't want you volunteering and doing things in their school. So it's not for long. It's a sacrifice, but it's really worth it.
So what do you think you're going to encourage someone to take as a teacher, as a career, like an immigrant person who is thinking, I got an accent, how can I be a teacher? What are you going to encourage somebody who wants to be a teacher in profession?
I'm going to encourage you, if it's in your heart to be a teacher, first of all, I would say, because probably as an immigrant person, how you grew up is different from the way they teach here. I will encourage you to spend like 4 weeks and shadow a teacher, which also involve, I'm going back to the volunteering part. You volunteer and say you want to be in the classroom and be able to help. There are procedures to it. You don't just go up there. You have to do background check. You have to do all of that. And we're in schools, we're always taking volunteers. So you come into the classroom, usually elementary school, and see what the teacher does. And see if you have a heart to be able to mold your heart into that. You have to have patience. You have to be able to, acclimatize into this new culture in order to be good and effective teacher in an American culture.
Sounds good. So anything that you want to add? I feel like, you gave us more information that we needed to know about education, but if you still have something, you can add it up so
I'm
that we
just going
can
to
wrap it up.
encourage us, like I said before, as do not leave your culture because you're in a new culture.
Okay.
You as a parent, you're totally responsible for teaching your children about your culture. Read books about your culture. Explain to them what it means.
Right.
I'm going to give you an example. When my kids were growing up, I spoke my language to them. And when they come back
That's
from
nice.
school, yep, from day one, their first language, even though they were born here, was Yoruba, was my language.
Wow.
It took them a while to really be able to speak English.
Wow.
They were about 3 or 4 years before they started speaking English.
That was a good thing you did.
Right. And you tell them why. Like when they first went to school, kindergarten, and my son would come back, Mom, we played at on the grass and this. I was like, oh, can you switch back to Yoruba? It's like, Mom, how do I say that in Yoruba? That's when I will now take patience and say the word to him in Yoruba and have him repeat it. It looks like it's a lot of work, but it pays off. Because then they begin to really know who they really are.
That's true.
Because once you know yourself, you're able to accept others.
That's true.
But if you question who you really are, it's hard for you to even understand when other people are struggling. So my final note would be involved in your children's education. You are also an educator as a parent at home. Implant in them your culture, explain to them why you do things. My kids, they might want to give me something with their left hand. I'll say, it is okay for you to be able to do that in school, but as a Yoruba person, we consider it inappropriate. We consider it kind of like rude to do that. So when you are in the midst of Yoruba people, try not to do that. So we are teaching them to code switch.
I've learned, like, most people, they forget to teach their own kids their language. It's something that you just told me, and I feel, well, I feel guilty of that.
It's okay.
But we are
Forgive
learning.
yourself.
So I feel you gave us all the information that we needed to know.
Absolutely.
I will really appreciative for you coming to the show. Thank you so much,
Absolutely.
Mrs. Adele. So we'll be back for next time. We will talk about entrepreneurship and parenting in America as a teacher. What kind of experience you have. So for now, thank you guys, and thank you for watching us.
Thank you for having me, Pinky. It's been a pleasure to be able to share a little bit of my experience.
Thank you so much. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and follow Glionse Media Show Talk Show. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.